Hey everybody, it's Michelle Hill with Southern Inspirations, and it is Fruitful Friday. If you followed me this week, you've seen a couple of posts about Fruitful Friday, and I'm very excited. I'm going to try to do this every Friday at 1 o'clock, so if you want to make a note, and we'll be talking about various different ways to be fruitful on Fridays, but most importantly, be inspired yourself, and then for the purpose of being an inspiration to others. So with that said, today I'm going to show you my inspiration board, and we're going to talk a little bit about making your own inspiration board. So a little bit of background, just like many of you probably thinking about going into the new year, I had aspirations to do a vision board and had kind of purchased all my supplies. I had gathered a few magazines, not a whole lot, but so I was making plans to do this vision board. And then one women's group that I'm a part of in Central Arkansas organized a vision board party for last weekend, but I was unable to attend. Side note, if you don't know, I'm now a grandmother. Whoop, whoop, I have to say that. My first grandbaby was born New Year's Eve, and so Brad and Hannah and I had been to Atlanta, a long trip to see grandbaby / niece for Hannah. We got back in time for the vision board party, but a couple of things. One, we were just tired, from the trip, but then Brad and I had some things that we needed to do around the house, and so I missed the vision board party, even though I was part of the events committee to try to do it. But anyway, so I determined that I was going to set aside this week to do my vision board, okay? So I gathered my supplies and I started on Monday working on it. And let me say this. Hey, Brandy, I see you watching. Can you hear me? Give me like a thumbs up. Yeah, Karen, it says you can't hear. Brandy, give me another comment or whatever. I've got my volume up, so I hope y'all, okay, I see hearts. So anyway, I determined that this was going to be the week that I was going to do my vision board. And yes, I know I'm saying vision, so y'all hang on with me for just a second, okay? And let me say, okay, thank you, Brandy. I appreciate that. Let me say this. And ladies, I'm talking to you, guys too, but us ladies, I am a doer, and so it was almost like it was going to be a checklist, like, oh, I want to get this vision board done, I got to get this vision board. I did not approach it that way. I approached it from, this is important to me, this is a process, and not only do I want to join just the enjoy the crafty part of it, but I really want this to mean something, and I want it to be something that I refer to year round. So, I don't have to really tell you what you need to do a vision board. You pretty much know that, but just for fun, I'm going to do it anyway, and I've got it all gathered here. So as far as the magazines, you may be thinking, who reads magazines anymore? Who has magazines on hand? You probably don't realize you may have a few around. I know for me, I typically pick up the social magazines. We have one here in Arkansas called Inviting Arkansas, so I have a few of those. We have another one called AY Magazine, which is About You. I had some of those. And so here is just my stack, okay, of magazines. But let me say this, another little tip. We all have to go to the doctor and the dentist, and sometimes we find ourselves in urgent care at one time or another. We're in a medical office, right? How many, raise your hand by giving me a comment, every single time you go to one of those offices and you're waiting for any length of time, they have what? Fill in the blank. Old magazines, right? So as I was sitting waiting to be called back to the doctor's office early this week, I just was looking around and I noticed that they had magazines from like October, November, but then I also noticed they had a lot of the freebie social magazines, where they've got 5 or 10 or 20 of them stacked up. And so I made a mental note that when I came out to ask the receptionist if I could have the expired ones and the extra ones. And she said yes, because why would she say no? That meant I was taking them instead of her to having to clean them up. So anyway, if you're worried about finding magazines, no need to worry. Sure, you can go online and print out stuff, but magazines are just more fun. You can just get more by flipping through the magazines. Plus, for me, I was like, oh, I forgot to read that article. This is a really cool article. So I did get sidetracked a couple times reading, but that's okay. The old glue stick, scissors, markers, little markers. I like to have, for me, some people don't use the markers. I do, because that brings an even more personal touch rather than everything being cut out from a magazine. And then I like to get these stickers. I got these at Dollar Tree for like little borders. You know, I like little borders on things. And then construction paper and or scrapbook paper, whatever you prefer. If you're a mom and you know, kids are always doing science projects or crafty this or that. My daughter is 20 years old, and I'm telling you, we still have stuff left over that she was using. I won't say elementary school, because that does sound, that would have been a while. But we probably got some stuff left over from crafty stuff that she was doing in middle school and high school. And so I just pulled out, you know, kind of what I had and started using that. So that's it as far as the supplies. Obviously a workspace. I just work, y'all can't see it, but I've got like a little 4-foot folding table that we keep in the home office, is a little bit of a workspace. And so I just cleaned it off and put my stuff there. So there you go, easy peasy. But again, here's the point. You want to make it yours, and you want it to have meaning that is going to be meaningful for you and do what it needs to do for you for the entire year. The actual process is fun, particularly if you like to do crafts. But again, you know yourself, and the beauty of it, which I'm going to show you in just a second with mine, is that even as you're doing it, it may evolve and your purpose may change. So I'm going to pull the whole thing up and step back, and then I'm going to come closer and show you some of the parts of mine. And let me say this, I'd say 98% done, because there's just a couple more things that I was like, oh, I forgot to put that. So I'll go back and get it 100%. But I'm going to step back. Drum roll, here's my vision board. I hadn't got to that part. Inspiration board, that's what I was going to tell you. Okay, so I'm going to come up closer. Here is what happened. So as I began, and literally I started with my name, and then I found the hill. It was like talking about the hill country somewhere, and so I just cut out hill in the magazine, and I started there. And let me just say too, for those of you who are Christians and you bathe everything in prayer, as I do, I didn't even start on this until I had already walked through the process in prayer of thinking about, okay, Lord, for 2020, what is your vision for me? What is your purpose for me in 2020? And how does that line up with my passion? And then when I kind of had some of those answers, that's what kind of began to manifest itself on this board. But even as I was doing this, you know, the Lord's always doing that. You may think you know, even after prayer and conversations with the Lord, but even sometimes in the middle of stuff, He will change it on you. And that's kind of what happened with this. So I put my name. You all know my company and my heart is Southern Inspirations. And so I've got my logo is on there. You'll see that. And see how I just put the yellow construction paper behind it. And then if you have followed me recently, you know that my quote, and I give the Lord credit for giving me this, is that inspiration is where purpose and passion collide. And I'm going to speak to that in just a second. Collide is my word for 2020. And I hope that all of you have picked out your word. And through a lot of prayer, collide seems like an interesting word. I mean, excuse me, y'all. That's literally when two things can kind of like, collide kind of sounds like a strong word, right? Well, collide for me, and I want it to be strong this year. And I wrote in my, I have the best prayerful planner this year. Side note for that, if you want to know more about the prayerful planner, ding me later, send me a message. I don't want to get sidetracked, but in working through my planner, it has a place in there for your verse of the year, for your vision, for your goals, for all those things. And so in my planner, when I wrote the word collide, I also dropped down and wrote, what does that mean, collide? And so I wrote things like, I want my intentions or my goals to collide with his will, right? Because we're still human, and he gives us those freedoms as believers to make choices, but I want it to collide with what his will is. And so I went through that process. I want those moments when I have unbelief to collide with his faith. And ultimately, of course, it's, from a vertical perspective, it's his faith that carries me through everything. So just a little bit on that. And so this whole idea of what inspiration is, I dropped it, comes from lining up your passions with your purpose. And stay with me here, y'all, and I hope you'll make a note to get with me, like I said, on Fridays, because we're going to dig more into this idea of passion and purpose colliding. And how do you even do that? How do you get to what your passion truly is, and how do you line that up and really know what your purpose is? We're going to walk through all of that. So, more on the board. So, I talked about the business. Just some other things that are important to me. And again, you want to make it your own. But Brad and I love exploring, and all through Arkansas. And the reason earlier I said I was 98% done, it's because I don't have anything about Jeeping on here. Y'all know I like my Jeeping, so I've got to get that on there. But we started cycling a couple of years ago. We took a little bit of a hiatus. Well, we took a big hiatus in 2019. So this is going to inspire me to get back in cycling. And then it's got some other Arkansas, and I've got the word travel and explore and whatever else on there. And you'll see right here, this is a lot of where my faith stuff comes in. If y'all can read that, there's power in the cross. When I first started, from the outset, my head was like, well, let me just put one big cross in the middle, because that needs to be the center of everything. And then as the Lord spoke to me through this, it's one of the things I was saying, it's how it evolved from it becoming, yes, it's a vision board. It's not like I'm trying to nitpick vision versus inspiration. But the Lord just spoke and said, no, it is inspiration. That's part of who you are. Your company is called Southern Inspirations, and it was a platform and a way for me to inspire others even before it became a company. So that's kind of how the inspiration, but through the Lord speaking to me on just the word inspiration, and that this was to be an inspiration board and not a vision board, He also said to me, you don't need one big cross. You need a cross, girlfriend, up in everything you are doing. Can I get an amen? So I just have two, the small crosses on here, but I was sure I put a cross there, and then I put one here. And down at this area, it's talking about family, staying connected, goodness, smile, just some of those good feeling words. And then back more on the inspiration, something that I say a whole lot, and you'll see on my hashtags on Instagram, is inspired to be an inspiration. And so I have that on there. There was something else I was going to tell y'all, and I can't remember. Oh, my verse of the year is Ephesians 3:20. And so I just found the words more than and just wrote in Ephesians 3:20, because I am believing and claiming that God is going to do immeasurably more than I could ask, think, imagine, or dream. And so that's my life verse there. Ready for some fun? Always got to have some fun. This is good, y'all. It says, trust the past to the mercy of God, the present to his love, and the future to his providence. St. Augustine. And so I thought that just really ties in with my beliefs. And then there's the word inspire, inspired, believe, go big, love. This says blessed and grateful. So all those little things. This right here says fix your eyes on Jesus, things that are important to me. Down here, y'all know I love to eat. I love to cook. I know you can't see me right now. Hopefully you can hear me. This is real cool. So it says, for the love of food. And then I got my picture of my cookbook I've written. Knife, I need some better knife skills. So that's going to inspire me to go get some training. But this for love of food, if you followed me anytime, you know that I also have a Facebook page called For the Love of Food. And really, I've transferred it over to my Good Eating group. So I don't do a whole lot with it. But anyway, I thought that was neat to find that. And this is the other section, y'all, that I just haven't completed yet about my home. And kind of the reason that is, I'm very blessed and thankful that Brad and I were able to build our dream home and move into it in 2019. And while there are still things that I'd like to do, that's always the case with a home, right? There's always something else you want to do. While that is the case, there's really not that much that I want to do that comes in here that I could put on here as far as, oh, well, I want a screened-in porch. I have a screened-in porch. Or, oh, I want a pool. Or, all these things. Most of those things, praise God, have come to fruition. And so I'm really just praying about, and the Lord's kind of working on me. Remember now, your home is really what's in here with me, and you need to think about your eternal home. And so I'm just kind of praying through what this little section might mean. So I hope y'all can see that okay. I wanted to share that with you mainly because, a couple reasons. One, I want you to continue to know my heart as I move forward in the Southern Inspirations journey. And just give you that authentic, real part of me. And also covering that and saying, this girl ain't perfect. Particularly, staying connected with family. There's a lot of ways that I could do a better job. And there's some other things on here that I need to work on. So this board will stay in this office right here where I'm standing so that I can look at it every day. And it may change. I may change as far as like adding to it. I may flip it around and add to it. Or as things evolve through the year, I may make changes. The other thing that I'm doing to kind of go along with it is back to that prayerful planner. I'm journaling in my planner to see what the Lord is doing and to journal those ways that through the year He's continuing to inspire me and to be faithful. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. I hope it's been inspirational. I hope it's been encouraging. I literally got this board, this little foam board, turn around, just, at Dollar Tree. And I mentioned earlier a lot of the stuff I had. I already had. I would encourage you in a couple of different ways. Do this with your children. Do it as a family activity. If you're looking for a way to encourage your children at a young age to start thinking about putting kind of their thoughts and their emotions in a visual form and to begin to think about what it's like to set goals and to be inspired. And those, I don't think you can start too early in the right manner, in the right way. So do that as a family project. If you lead a team, if you run a business or, you're just a leader in some capacity and you have people reporting to you and you're looking for what, particularly at the beginning of the year when some people may kind of just be in the New Year's slump, you can always do this as a team building event. And then lastly, I would just encourage you to share it. Whatever you do with your board, not that you have to jump on Facebook Live like I'm doing right now and share it with the world, but I want my husband to know what inspires. He already knows a lot what inspires me, but I want him to see even more that I have transferred this from the inside of me to something visual. I want him to be a part of that. And so I encourage you to share that with someone who you trust or who's in your inner circle or who you just want to share it with. So that is it. Again, I hope you will tune in every Friday. If that ever changes, I'll let you know. We are going to dig into some specific words, right? and ways that you can identify your strengths, your talents, your skill set, that kind of thing, and how that when you identify what those things are about yourself, that's how you come up with kind of what your passion is, or you may already know your passion, and that's fine too. And then how does that relate to what your purpose is? And then, boo, it is a beautiful thing, because you are then inspired, and it's not work. It doesn't feel like work. So, happy Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for following Southern Inspirations. Please share this video, share my page. Literally, my heart is just to inspire others to do the things in their lives that inspire themselves and each others. Not each, just others. I'm also going to continue to tell stories. I'm lining up stories with nonprofits and individuals and associations right now. I've had appointments every day this week to get that done, so you'll be seeing more of those stories come soon. So again, thank you for watching, and what do I always say? Live life, y'all. Bye.